Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So Pandemic Legacy Season 2 was a big disappointment for me, and I'm recording this far after I played it, and I kind of wanted to give it a lot of thought, what I liked, what I didn't like about it, and quite frankly, I thought I made a final video on it, and I didn't. So I reviewed what we did, and I wanted to go back over it and just have something for posterity's sake. Now, Season 1 was a huge winner for us. We had a great time with it, had the storylines that kind of diverged, and Season 2 I didn't like as much. Now, Season 2 was more about building the map, and it was more about finding out what happened after the fact, so I felt lost a lot of the way. Where in Season 1, I felt like I had a lot of the information, it was coming out, it felt more like Pandemic, where this one almost felt like Pandemic in reverse. I felt like it was the opposite of Pandemic. Then we got to the end, we had to make, it felt like if I had made certain decisions, the end game would have been easier. I didn't know to make those decisions, so it became a little bit harder, but I didn't have any reason to choose A over B. But if I had, it would have been a lot better for me, and it almost led me down to make these decisions, and then all of a sudden I found out, oh, the decisions are bad. So I played it twice. I played through once not knowing anything, of course, and the second time I played, I let somebody else make the majority of the decisions, but I kind of saw the path that they were taking us down. I didn't really enjoy the experience very much. This is one that I kind of, since I like Season 1 and Season 0 so much, I almost want to go back and play 2 again and see, well, you know, what did I miss? Were my expectations what were setting me back? But nobody I played with it liked it that much, and one of the groups I played with just didn't want to finish it. So we ended up go from a 4-player game to a 2-player game, but I had already played it before, so I was just kind of going through the motions to see what would happen. The other group, it was kind of more like a chore to get through it, and they didn't want to play Season 0 after playing 2, so I think they felt the same way. Overall, Season 2 felt more like a chore. It felt like not enough Pandemic was in it. Almost felt like the opposite as you're building the map. The story was good, but after Season 1 put you on such a high, it almost felt like Season 2 was a little bit too ambitious and kind of told a story that I didn't want it to go, although there were some surprises in it that did surprise me and I had a good time with. I mean, is it better than Charterstone? Absolutely. Is it better than the Plaid Hat Legacy game? Great, yes. I mean, you're talking about the higher echelon of Legacy games that we're comparing this to, and it needs to hold up to that. It's not as good as Clank, it's not as good as Season 1 or Season 0, so it just kind of left me as the dark spot of the series. The sequel wasn't as good as the original. The trilogy, the third one, is even better, so I feel like this is kind of the worst one of the series and not one I would really recommend people to play through. Because this one is something I didn't enjoy, instead of going 1, 2, 0, I usually would recommend people going 0, 1, 2 and jumping into the series like that, because if you don't make it to part 2, I think you'll be okay, because it wasn't very enticing or fun for me to play through. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. It wasn't something I want to go back to. It's not something that I have great memories of like I do the first one and Season 0. It kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't like the end game very much. But it is one, with that said, that the other two are so good, it makes me want to go back and play it. Almost like chugging through that second movie to get to the third one because you know it's going to pay off in the end. So for me, Pandemic Legacy Season 2 is not a recommendation, other than you're just trying to play all the games in the series, or you're really jonesing for a Legacy game and you've already played the other higher end ones. Then maybe you would do something like this. Otherwise, totally passable to me. Absolutely a Purge.